And away we go. It's the DFS Early Bird presented by Awesemo.com. Dan Strafford, Josh Engelman, along with you on this Friday morning. What's so funny at the top?
I feel like we already talked about this slate once before. I think
yes.
all of these pitchers are the same pitchers from the last time.
It is very true. And you get into that cycle, and it happens this time of year and the beginning of the year, where all the ones are going together, all the twos, and you get into that cycle. The middle of the year, you get some, Price is Right, where you spin the wheel? No. Wheel of Fortune, where you're spinning the wheel.
You do spin a wheel and Price is Right.
Yeah, that's fair. I appreciate you trying to help me out there. But yes, it does feel like this is a very similar slate, if not the same exact slate that we spoke about recently. We do have someone like Luzardo on this slate. Easy for me to say. And I will say this is the green screen edition of the DFS Early Bird. I have my green shirt on. Josh has a green screen background.
I should wear a green shirt today. I don't ever wear green on my other shows.
Yeah, just float the head. So if someone's in a entrepreneurial video producer, have fun. I mean, we can do some fun things here on the show.
Oh God, I've never even thought about that.
Oh, I mean, it's one of my favorite things to do when politicians or celebrities wear awful green outfits to
turn them into pizza and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
Or other funny things.
Exactly right. I remember this is non-political. Sean Spicer wore a green tie for St. Patrick's Day, and it was chroma key green. It was like perfectly, and you just saw so many people take advantage of that, and it was pretty impressive.
The moment that gets spotted, people are probably just like, okay, I know what I'm doing today.
Exactly.
I'm gonna make 100 memes.
sorry, boss. I gotta log on to Twitter. I apologize.
I gotta read memes today.
Not like I ever log off of Twitter, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's true.
And by the way, listen, I went to the Red Sox Giants game last night. My daughters danced beforehand. They're in an Irish step dance troupe, and I tweeted out a poll that I honestly expected about 20 people to respond to.
Okay.
And the poll was adults wearing jerseys at games. Perfectly fine, awful, stop being judgmental, Dan. Those were the three options. 2,300 votes later, I realize I'm playing Twitter wrong. And the way I try to get engagement is clearly right, and the trolls win. The trolls win. They know how to get engagement. But the overwhelming, only 9% voted for awful. So you see where everybody feels. But to everyone who voted, I thank you. I appreciate it. And
depends on the jersey.
Well, I think I own jerseys. It was more just me being a jerk on Twitter. Surprising, I know, to everyone listening. But it was more saying, I just don't get one. I think wearing a different team's jersey to a game is the silliest thing ever. If you're going to a Red Sox Giants game and you're wearing a Mets jersey, you're living your life wrong. And I do think there's a weird thing of my age group, 37, 38, and older, wearing jerseys of players who are playing now. And so it's just a weird sort of like connective thing for me that I don't want to wear a Aaron Judge jersey as a Yankee fan.
Sure.
I'll wear my Mattingly jersey because that's who I rooted for as a kid and growing up.
Right.
So that's where I come down. Wear a jersey. Have fun. And no, I don't. Do what you got to do. Like, I don't care. And I got so many great tweets of like, hey, you're a jerk. Fine, whatever, dude.
You just don't have to like read it, right? Like some people.
No, I read the replies.
No, not you. Like just.
Totally.
Like,
just don't reply.
I just avoid the things that I don't already like want to interact with. But
yeah, that's life. I mean, these are the people who at work, when you have the water cooler, hear a conversation they don't want to be involved in and walk over and be like, what are you guys talking about?
Oh, God.
I don't believe the same political thing you do, and I'm going to tell you why right now.
Oh, God. I don't miss The Office at all.
It's good times. Now I just have those conversations with my 9-year-old, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, I have them with myself and my bobblehead on my desk.
All right. We have a deep slate, 14 games. We're going to go pitching first. And then we will talk about some stacks along the way. Friday, you'll still get MLB content. Yes, NFL season is here. And yes, Awesemo is producing, not Alex himself, Awesemo.com is producing a crap ton of content, both on the NFL side, but also still on the baseball side. Projections, ownership projections, lineup builder still live. You get the article from Adam. You get the live shows. So stay on board for baseball through the end of the year. There's still big prize pools to be won. Maybe not on Sundays, which is understandable, but every other day they're still pumping out some big contests. This is a fun one. Names abound at pitching and even some cheap options that may be intriguing to some simply because how cheap they are on this slate. We'll look at DraftKings, FanDuel, and I'll pull up some Yahoo prices, and I'll update you on the $1 million baller over there from our sponsor, Yahoo DFS, momentarily. But, Josh, we got Bieber at the top against Philadelphia. DeGrom gets Cincinnati in Great American Ballpark, and Charlie Morton gets the Red Sox in the Trop. They're all above 11K. Typically, we need to separate down to 10K, but we get three pitchers above 11K. Any thoughts here initially on those three and how they might play into exposure, and if you're playing cash game lineups, how you might try to figure out these top three?
I think I like Morton the most. This Red Sox team is depleted.
Yep.
I didn't notice it until this morning's show. I already did it. It's fine.
It's fine.
Yesterday's show.
It's fine.
We're getting there. I recognized it immediately, and I think that's part of the
admitting you have a problem.
Yep. Yep. If I can catch it immediately, then I can slowly work on it. Anyway, I didn't realize just how sour that lineup has become in many spots. The bottom looked terrible. It looks a lot different without Mookie Betts or JD there.
Betts should be back, quote unquote, this weekend. So take that for what it's worth. I haven't seen Friday as of yet, but they have been saying that he should be back in the lineup at some point this weekend in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, the line is out. Minus 178 for Tampa Bay. 8.5 total for the game. I think Bieber's in a good spot, but $1,100 more feels like too much. And then DeGrom at Cincinnati, not really that great of a strikeout matchup in a hitter's park to begin with. So I think Morton stands out as like the best option there, which you wouldn't have expected to say that in April.
Yeah. And I think that's, again, Josh will tell you flat out, his projections are going to spit out a certain number and run it through Cruncher. He'll adjust exposures. So the Red Sox over the course of the season may not grade out perfectly here, but it is worthwhile to take into consideration who's in the lineup. Think about active lineup. Think about all those things. And I'm with you there. Morton stood out. This is a Red Sox team that just has not had the same power simply because of injuries and the bottom half of the lineup not doing what they were doing at the beginning of the year. I do think this is a spot for Morton. Ownership will play a part. I think Morton would be low owned here because of matchup. Now, it is a good pitcher's park, so you may cancel each other out there, but I do like Morton. I'll take DeGrom pretty much in any situation if I'm building multiple lineups, but if you're building a cash game lineup or you're trying to build a handful, DeGrom's going to be, I think, the odd man out against Morton. Same for Bieber at 12-2. I love Shane Bieber this year, but again, too pricey for me. We get down to 10K, and there's one pitcher who seems to be in an absolute prime spot with Clayton Kershaw here at 10-8 at home against a Colorado Rockies team that does not travel well. They don't bring their bats with them. You can talk home road splits being a little bit noisy when it comes to data, but this is one we can trust. Going from Colorado to Chavez Ravine is a big difference. Is Kershaw close to an SP1 for you here? And is there enough upside that he trumps the Morton and DeGroms of the world for you?
It's tricky. 10-8's a lot in this spot. Rockies haven't really been like a massive strikeout team against lefties, essentially middle of the pack. Their performance just in general against lefties, at least their active roster, has been pretty good. But it's night and day at home and on the road. And I don't know what that balance really is. As of right now, I would guess that I like Morton more than Kershaw. But I think Colorado can roll out a lineup that makes me prefer Kershaw, depending on who's just playing in the middle of September. Like, they can get there because their bottom is a lot lower than the Red Sox bottom.
Yep. I think that makes a ton of sense. And again, lineups matter, and we'll be giving you that information on our live shows over on YouTube, which many of you are probably watching this show on YouTube. Like, subscribe, all of those things, and hit that alarm bell so you know when we go live each and every day. That is very, very important so you don't miss out on any of the shenanigans. Well, also the great content, but the shenanigans as well with Josh and Jake and Spags and Emac and Adam and Lofty and then the whole crew over there on the NFL side as well. Feel like there's a new face every day when I log in. So that's an interesting.
We're growing brand.
There you go. Now you just need that water cooler and we can start having terrible discussions.
I have one. It's right outside my door, essentially.
That is fantastic. Castillo and Minor are over other two 10K plus pitchers. again, Castillo is the sort of arm that I know has tons of upside. So if you're MMEing exposure-wise, if you get some, I don't argue against it. The Mets have some Ks in this lineup. It's fine. I have no desire to have Mike Minor here against the A's.
Nope.
I know it's in O.co and it's a bigger park, but this seems like an A's lineup that should absolutely smash against Minor yet again.
He's a pretty sizable underdog too. Yeah, I have no interest there.
All right, so let's go sub 10K where things get intriguing. I think we have some fun here. You have Zach Greinke, Fultonevich, and by the way, somebody in Slack chat was making the point that they've never heard Laffy mispronounce someone's name. I will try to find the game tape of him trying to pronounce Mike Fultonevich the first time through. That was a fun one.
Not great.
Not great. And listen, I know I flub more than he does. He does a lot of prep work, and he's done a great job of making himself into a very great host on Sirius and on here. But Fultonevich, I will hang a pin in that one because it was a show in and of itself when he was trying to pronounce that one. But you have Luzardo at 94, J.A. Happ at 92. I'm not going to trust Greinke against the Angels. I guess there's enough injuries there that you can make a case that there's not a ton of pop. I get it. They just don't strike out a ton. That has ebbed and flowed on the season depending on who's in the lineup. I get that. So again, lineups matter here, but I'd rather get to a Kershaw a little bit higher, $1,000 more, or consider Fultonevich here against San Francisco. And I know that's a roller coaster ride of all merits because Fultonevich has not been the same pitcher he was last year, which a lot of people predicted. There's a lot of projections saying that last year was really an outlier for him. Sabermetrics and analytics said, hey, a lot of his numbers were luck. And yes, a season long of luck is a little bit of a misnomer, but it wasn't going to be sustainable. But here against San Francisco, again, a team that on the year has struggled. Has their offensive changes, have the guys they've brought up and maybe some of the bats they've moved around changed enough for you to think Fultonevich is a bad play here at SunTrust? Or do you think you might have some exposure at 9,400?
I'd be surprised if I got all the way to 9,400 for him. I think that's just a little high given where everybody else is. And I think that Greinke is very in play at 9,800. Okay. Have you seen the line on that game?
I have not.
The Houston Astros are minus 337. Well, 9 is the total.
They're going to bomb, right? Because whenever they're plus or minus 300 or more, they somehow screw it up. Like
they have done that, right? But like that's sort of what the line was when they were playing the Tigers.
That's insane. Is it really? What's the projected
minus 337? The line is 9.
Wow. All right. Yeah. I guess with Trout's lingering injury, Ohtani out, that's a different lineup. It's a completely different lineup and one I probably have to take a better look at. I also am a Zach Greinke anti-truther, if that's a thing. Like I just don't believe what I'm seeing. Like like every time he pitches, I just don't believe that he is doing what he's doing. Simply because the whole fastball changeup mix that he has, and it's just insane. But that's one I'll double back to and one I'll take a better look at. Let's take a quick look at FanDuel here on the top end just to talk about it. And I'll pull up Yahoo momentarily. You get, well, I know where you're going to go here. Morton is your 5th most expensive pitcher at 9,500 behind DeGrom, Bieber, Kershaw, and Luis Castillo.
That's pretty easy.
Then you have Greinke at 9,200, Minor at 89. And then we get into Merrill Kelly, Fultonevich all the way down, not all the way down, but down at 7,700. Seems a little bit more palatable.
Absolutely.
But on a single pitcher site, I feel less inclined to use Fultonevich simply because of the way I like to have more of a floor on FanDuel because of it. But I think that is a better price point. All right, let's continue on DraftKings. We'll get back to FanDuel, and then we'll touch on Yahoo a little bit later on. I'll say this. I think Toronto is going to absolutely slap around J.A. Happ.
Wouldn't shock me.
Like this feels like the top 3 in that lineup, Biggio and Bichette and Vladito, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. are going to absolutely tee off on Happ in this spot. And I will have that stack. Like I'll have those righty bats definitely deployed. So I have no want to have J.A. Happ in single entry, cash games, anything like that. Do you see tournament upside for someone like Happ at this price point, or is this just too expensive in a bad spot?
No, I'm looking much more towards Toronto. And I say that as someone that gets a lot of Toronto anyway.
Right, sure.
235 ISO to righties this season, 206 X ISO. I don't do a lot of I don't look at pitch type data a lot, but Grichuk's X ISO in 137 at bats against like similar JA Happ pitch types, ISO is 256, Gurriel 234, Teoscar 258, Drury 232. I mean, we're talking about like half of the lineup just slugging like they're.
And you're not talking about the kids. Like,
right.
You're not talking about Biggio and Bichette and Vlad, who have the gigantic upside. I mean, Kevin Biggio has been killing the ball over the past 4 weeks. This lineup, I think you have so many multiple ways to go with stacks and piecing things together that this could be a very ugly stat line for Jay Happ very quickly, too. I think this is sort of game where you could be in the Yankees bullpen early, and you have to remember they're managing towards the playoffs. They're not going to run out their best bullpen in a 7-0 game in the third. You're going to be getting the dregs of the back end of that bullpen. So I like that a lot. We'll get to more offenses as we go through. You have let me go back. Merrill Kelly, Dylan Cease, still somebody who I can't fully figure out.
Wasn't he the minimum the last time we did this?
I'm pretty sure he was 6,300. Now he's 8,300.
Oh my God.
I
think he was like the lowest salaried, one of the lowest salaried players.
Definitely. We talked about him towards the end of the pitching pool. You have Kelly, Cease against Detroit, Sanchez against Miami. So this is the opponent window where you have Kelly against San Diego in Petco, Cease against Detroit in I'm going to forget the Detroit. Comerica. Nailed it. And then
I just assumed it wasn't Comerica anymore when I said it. And that was like the old one.
And then you have Anibal Sanchez in Miami against the Marlins. Who do you like best here? I feel like each has their warts and clearly ways to say you would not play them, but the matchups are too good. The parks lean in that way. Who do you like best of these three?
Anibal Sanchez.
Yep.
Yeah, it has to be. There's absolutely no way that I'm spending $8,300 on Dylan Cease or $8,700 on Merrill Kelly. There's just absolutely no chance that's happening.
What do you make of ownership here for someone like Anibal Sanchez? Do you think he's going to be fairly high owned when all is said and done because of the matchup and the price point?
Let me look at the bottom quick. Hess, Brawl,
I was going to bring up David Hess. That's the scary part.
Zimmerman will get ownership of 4,800. Brooks, Felix, Barrios, Meltzer. That middle ground might be a little bit more fertile than I was first assuming. I mean, I could see Sanchez in like the 10 to 12 area, something in that neighborhood.
Yep. I think that feels right. I think it's Sanchez. If I had to go in order, it'd be Sanchez, Kelly, Cease for me. Same. And I know Detroit is the best of the other two, San Diego and Detroit, for matchup-wise, but I think there's enough Ks in the San Diego lineup to overcome there. I just don't think Dylan Cease is good.
No.
And I get the pricing for the matchup, but the walks continue to plague him, and I think this is a spot where Detroit could at least muscle across a couple of runs and make this a short outing for Cease. We have Lauer, Chase Anderson, Tyler Beatty is in Atlanta. We have Duggar against Sanchez in that Washington matchup, and then we get into maybe throwing some darts. Smiley, Porcello, Wogesback, Skoglund for Kansas City against Minnesota. We talked about we didn't really talk about Luzardo, but you have Fires probably opening here, and Luzardo going a few innings. They're saying they're trying to stretch him out even further than those three. You might see 4 or 5 out of him, which could make him a little bit more of a long-term option for them in the playoffs. But anybody, honestly, what are we doing on the bottom ends? Let's take the bottom half. Any names that stand out? Any guys that you think at least early on here you'd want to do further research, understand better player pool, and maybe get a better read on where the stats line up?
It's really ugly.
Yeah.
It is devoid of anything of value. And I would kind of like Bobby Doug's, but Washington is minus 190, so that makes me slightly less interested when he's 7K. Drew Smiley's got to deal with Cleveland. Porcello stinks. Tyler Beatty's got the Braves. Chase Anderson can't strike anybody out to save his life, and he's got Pittsburgh. They don't strike out at all. Wagsback's got the Yanks. God, I've been putting J.A. Happ on the stupid Blue Jays for
Yes.
that entire back and forth in my head. Why? I mean, that's a terrible spot now that Stanton is healthy again. Scotland's got Minnesota. No,
That's ugly.
I mean, we are scraping. I mean, Devin Smeltzer's in play, I guess, because the Royals are the
here are the
Royals.
names that I feel awful mentioning as guys that when I first looked at this slate, I wanted to at least understand contextually what I could project for, especially on 2-pitcher sites. I think it is important to think of it as 2 pitchers together, right? You need to pay for a team here. So you need to figure that out when you get to offense. It's not a core slate, but clearly bats are priced up as well. Yeah. David Hess is opening, supposedly, for Baltimore. He hasn't been throwing long in games, and Brooks is going to be the follower, the long reliever, whatever you want to say. Aaron Brooks is somebody that I thought at least I want to take a longer look at, as on the year, the Mariners have struggled against right-hand pitchers with K percentage. But it's Aaron Brooks. And so it's not someone that I think I'm going to roster, but it's someone I at least want to check the box and say, okay, I did the research. He sucks as much as I thought he did. I don't want to go there. But is there life for Felix Hernandez? Is there some upside here at $5K against a Baltimore Orioles team that we know has struggled? I know they've been better against lefties, and I know there's power in that lineup in some spots. But does Felix have a couple of last hurrahs in him as he comes to the end of this season and potentially the end of his career?
I think I might be more interested in the Baltimore pitching.
Okay.
Which makes me feel not good.
Yep.
Because it's not as if any of that looks particularly tasty either. Felix 199 x ISO to lefties this year, 229 to righties, striking out below league average. I think he's just cooked. Swinging strike rate below 10. He doesn't seem to be getting anybody out. He doesn't really seem to have an out pitch. I don't know. I think this is the end of the line. It's sad because he was so good for so long.
Well, it is amazing how long he's been pitching in the major leagues. He came up at the age of 19. I've talked about this on this podcast and many others. But he is still, I think he's like 35. Like he's not.
Yeah, he's 33.
He's 33. Fantastic. Amazing. And I get it. Contextually, we talk about it all the time. But I'm 4 years older than Felix Hernandez, and he's at the end of the line. And I'm just trying to think of the next step in my career and what's happening next.
I mean, he's like, I feel like we're putting our dog down with this dude.
Well, I mean, sometimes you have to realize it's time for them to go.
Yeah.
And,
but he's younger than me.
Right. Exactly right. It's crazy. Let's see. K percentage last 30 days, which I know means absolutely jack shit. But Orioles at 19.9% over the past 30 days and K percentage on their active roster. Good for them. So
it's pretty good. I thought you were going for Felix, and I was like, he probably just started taking steroids for the last 2 months. Just be like, what's going to happen? They're going to suspend me and I retire?
God. Oh my God, why wouldn't you? Well, I know it's steroids. Like, you wouldn't want to get into that world necessarily. It does shit to your body.
I mean, to get some testosterone, if you're 33, you're starting to tail down, take the catapult to the top.
The Mariners are 24.8% in a K percentage and ISO of 173. Again, over the past 30 days, it's a small sample that I'm not in any way saying means anything, but lineups do change, and that's why I've said a couple times here, this time of year, who the hell knows what a team like Baltimore or Seattle will run out there. They have so many different options to run out, pitching-wise as well. So Felix may be out there for 4 innings, and they might say, hey, he's done, even though he's pitching well. So those are things to keep in mind. You can't really project for them, but just be prepared for that tilt if it were to happen, if you were to roster in that direction. We've talked a bit about, let's do this. Let's talk Yahoo here quickly just to get in some talk there.
Absolutely.
I will point out, it is no longer the $1 million baller. It is now, in fact, the 500K baller over on Yahoo Sports. It is $10 entry fee, 10% management fee for this one. They have changed it up a little bit. You do still have a $25 100K guaranteed tournament, which with much less entries. So it's 4.4K entries into the $25 and then into the $500,000 prize pool. It's $10. Is it 150 lineups? I don't see.
Yes, it is.
It's 150. Thank you. So 150 on the $10 entry. On the $25 it is 125 entries. So slightly different, but check them out. You can get the Yahoo Bucks by using Osmo as your promo code, $30. Did I get that right? I think I'm
Yahoo Sports rewards points.
Yahoo Bucks.
You were good with it. Camel Cash.
Oh, those were the days. I never smoked a cigarette, but remembering all my friends collecting that stuff of like, I've
got a sweet duffel bag.
I got a T-shirt, man. Oh, all right, good for you.
Cool, man. All you had to do was smoke 600 packs of cigarettes for a T-shirt.
Camel Lights.
You did it.
Amazingly, this is a complete aside that no one will care about. I worked at a all-you-can-eat rib restaurant in central New Jersey in high school and college, and I had a buddy of mine who was an avid smoker, like enjoyed it and like thought it was the greatest thing ever. And he smoked Camels and thought it was fantastic. And I started writing a movie script where one of the main scenes is him getting Camel Bucks, like is him celebrating how much he had, and us then discussing how it just cost him his lungs to build up. But
like it wouldn't even make sense to me if that was the only way to acquire those kinds of items. Like it's just like, I guess I don't have a shirt.
Right. This duffel bag that's going to break in 3 trips.
Yeah.
I wish
I still have a Marlboro bag from my parents' Marlboro miles somewhere in my house right now.
What a different world. But so on Yahoo, we can talk baseball here.
Yeah.
They do not have as big a tournaments as they've had in the past, but they do have some ongoing on Friday night. We can take it. Nope, that's not what I want to open. That's not at all what I want to open up.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's a different. There we go. Yes, exactly. Well, the wife's not down here. There we go. Okay, just didn't scroll. All right, so we got DeGrom at $56. Blow out the budget on DeGrom. $51 for Bieber, Greinke at $50, Clayton Kershaw at $50, Morton's $48. So again, 5th highest priced over on Yahoo for Charlie Morton. Castillo, Fulton Nevich. Where else are we looking for names here?
I like that Bieber price at 51.
Jordan Zimmerman's 30. So Yahoo is showing, and I'm just going to confirm here quickly over on ESPN and MLB.com.
Michael King?
That Kyle Gibson is starting for the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, he started today.
Okay, that's what I thought. So assume that
supposed to at least.
Smeltzer, I'm pretty sure he did. I remember checking boxes before, but what else do we have here? Cheap end of the pool. Smiley.
Bobby Duggs.
Is he 25?
Yeah.
And they have Chandler. All right, Yahoo. Let's get this going. Let's figure this out. Felix is 27. Feels like fairly similar analysis, though I agree with you. Bieber at 51, and then I would stay with Morton at 48. Like I don't think that's all that off. Sanchez is at 38 against the Marlins, right in line with Minor at 38 and Kelly at 37 and Lauer at 33. I think Sanchez is still the right call there. Anybody pop off the page to you that other than your Bobby Duggs fanboy account?
The Shane Bieber price is the one that stood out most to me. Being 51, being $5 less than DeGrom,
right?
That felt like a good spot. Luis Castillo for 46 seems perfectly reasonable. Clearly, like Morton, though, a little bit more. And then, I mean, Dylan Cease is a little bit more in play at 31 since it is the Tigers. I wouldn't be afraid to use that. Can't imagine wanting Tyler Beede in that spot. Zimmerman's fine for 30, even though he stinks. It's really bad after that. Like, Drew Smyly's just in such a bad spot against Cleveland. There's so much righty power in that lineup now that he's really hard to recommend.
All right, let's talk offenses, and we'll say so long. We've already talked Yankees a bit. Clearly, that is a tough spot. You have the Twins against Skoglund, which would seem to stand out. Who else? What other offenses do you think here at first pass? I mentioned Toronto Blue Jays. You made the point of none of the names I was talking about are probably in even better spots, so you can play multiple iterations of that stack, which might be fun. I always do enjoy building with 8-9-1-2 as a stack, like just getting different in the way I'm exposing myself.
The way you're exposing yourself? It's always good to mix it
up. Josh, I retire from podcasting. I think this is the time to go out.
That's fair.
The police are at my door. But where do you see offenses that at first glance, again, this could change radically when lineups come out and the way things are situated. But first glance at offenses that you think you'll have a bit of ownership on for Friday's slate.
Yankees for sure. Blue Jays for sure. Only game that has a line right now that is north of 9.5 is the White Sox and the Tigers, oddly enough. So I have to imagine there's at least something going on there. I would guess that their pricing is still dirt cheap. Let's pull that up quick. I can't imagine they have expensive hitting. Yeah, no, Yohan Moncada in the game at 4,800 is the most expensive hitter. So I would imagine those guys are going to pick up some love in terms of at least a value stack if that total really is 10. Let's see, anybody else standing out? Houston's probably not going to be too shabby, but they're always priced accordingly.
Yep.
So they're kind of tough to get to.
Dodgers perhaps against Lambert.
Yeah, that I can't imagine that's a really difficult spot for them. I just don't trust them from a pinch hit perspective.
Sure.
But they're still going to grade out really well. So it's not as if I'm going to be changing anything up. There's nothing I could do to really combat that. Yeah, I'd be in for some Dodgers against Lambert. Lambert stinks.
You mean you don't have a rule in fantasy country for Dave Roberts?
No, I don't. I wish I did. That's probably why Alex wins all the time.
Right. He has a Dave Roberts rule. That makes total sense. I think there's a ton to dig into here. And I know NFL is this weekend and people are already building and trying to focus on milli makers and 500K ballers and all the different things that are available. But it's a pretty deep slate that I think will offer up some fun lineup builds for you. Those of you who are single entering or hand building a few lineups, remember Osmo.com does have the lineup builder that loads in the grades from Alex directly. So you can sort of see called the GPA over there and figure out what your exact build would look like. And those of you MMEing, clearly we have ownership projections and we have the projections from Alex himself. Josh has stuff out there. You have Lofty and Adam and all the guys available in Slack chat as well. If you want to become a member, this is kind of the best time of the year to do it. Baseball winding down, NFL kicking off, NHL is getting its wheels in motion, and then the NBA is within the next month. So if you were to join right now, well, I guess it's within the next, about the next month, a little bit more than a month. I think October 22nd is opening day for the NBA. If you were to join now, 50% off your first month, early bird promo code. Honestly, watch any of the live streams. There are promo codes out there for each of those that give you the same deal. But you get in now, you're right up to NBA season. You can start to see the product, see preseason. I'm sure we'll have content there as well as the time rolls out. You get Josh, you get Adam, you get Dave, you get Spags, and Jake's on hockey, along with Cliffy's now in the mix over there. Michael Clifford, for those of you who don't know, calling somebody Stone Cliffy out of context probably sounds a little strange. And then, of course, you get Ed Fear, who you'll see on live strems this year as well. Hopefully his hair is ready for the NBA season.
I'm sure
it's not. I'm highly disappointed. And it's just a great product. I think NBA, and yes, everybody can say it's their favorite sport, but it is I just enjoyed building NBA lineups. I love baseball. It's my favorite sport, but NBA DFS is by far my favorite. So you'd be right in line there. If you use that 50% off your first month, join today or join this weekend, you get MLB, you get NFL right off the bat, NHL right there, PGA is in the mix too. So much content, so much happening. Josh, any programming that folks need to know about when it comes to a wide array of shows that are coming up from Friday through to Monday? I know we get a podcast Saturday morning. I was supposed to fill in for EMAC. I found out I'm going to a play Friday night, trying to figure that out. So we'll get you guys covered. It'll happen. But
for sure.
We'll get it out. But what programming do we have ahead for everyone Friday through at least Saturday? Let's give them a little taste of what we have going.
So it'll be myself and Adam on the strategy show at 9:30. We'll have Manny.
Let's say hopefully 9:30. Adam is a late riser. Adam tends to.
At whatever time Adam determines he will wake up, that is what time that show will start. But no, 9:30 is the scheduled time there. Manny and Chris Randone, we talking Fantasy Cruncher and the NFL. We'll have Ben Rasa and Jordan Frank on the sports betting show at noon. We'll have the Yahoo specific NFL strategy show with Alex and Nolan Kelly at 1, and then deeper dive with what's tomorrow? Friday, so there's no football. Spags, Alex, and Adam. We moved Alex's schedule moved around to not be on the deeper dive on NFL days.
Sure.
Because he's on the Live Before Lock show that day. So I'm still not used to thinking about it. So Spags, the boss man, Alex Baker, and Adam on the deeper dive. And then Jake and I closing out Live Before Lock on Friday, as we usually do.
So you mentioned 6 shows, and that's just on Friday. So
yes, it's the biggest day we have for content.
And that is all free over on YouTube. The reason
Yes.
it's free is because we want you all to see the content we have, and then the projections, ownership projections, the articles that are part of the Osmo Plus offering or behind the paywall. So you get a mix of both. If you want to just watch the YouTube shows, you're more than welcome. We are happy to have you aboard. If you want to get a little bit more of a leg up on the competition, that is where you can join up over at osmo.com. Use that 50% off with Early Bird as your promo code. With that said, wish you the best of luck on the slate. You find Josh on Twitter at Josh Engelman. Find me at Dan Stratford. And of course, it's Osmo_com. I will implore you, follow Osmo_com because they're giving subs away pretty regularly over there.
Yeah.
So take it up, enter. It's all you need is $1 and a dream, but here it's free. So you can get in on the opportunity to win a free sub, 3 months, 6 months, a year, giving away different things each and every week. So be sure to tune in on Twitter for that. With that said, best of luck on this slate and every slate you're playing on this weekend. NFL is back for week number 3, and we'll be back with more right here on the DFS Early Bird presented by Osmo.com.